Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Delicate Medical Fitness, and please like, comment and subscribe. And today I will talk about why and how I lost the weight. So at my biggest I was 96 kg, so that's just over 15 stone, and I'm quite short. I'm only 5'3", so that's about 161. So for a short person that's quite a lot of weight. And then I gone down to 56 kg, so that's just under 9 stone. So in total I lost just over 6 stone or 40 kg. So in my previous video I was talking about how I was fat and what all the different problems I had when I was fat. And today I will talk about why and how I lost the weight. So when I was around 30, I was quite in a bad place physically and mentally, and I was overweight and I had all the different health problems. I was feeling depressed, my back was hurting, my knees were hurting to the extent that it was keeping me up at night. My skin was bad in terms of I had eczema. I had eczema since I was young, and as you see now I don't. So all those things led up to it. So there was one funny now I can laugh about it, but that time it wasn't really funny. I was driving my car and I had a short like crop leather jacket, and as I'm driving the jacket rides up because all the fat on the stomach is too much and it's like big rolls start to come out. I pull the jacket down, drive again, and just literally a few seconds later the same thing happens. So that was like one of the things, sometimes people say there's kind of wake-up call that makes you, realize that something needs to be done. So that was one part of it. That was kind of, and then a few weeks later I was walking into work. So I was living not that far, but I was driving for the whole other gym was not so close, and shopping and stuff like that. So in London it's quite normal to drive. But at that time I was walking into work and I was asking myself question, so where do I see myself in 5 years? Keeping in mind I was just 30 at that point, yeah. And then I was still seeing myself, not very well, quite, a lot more pain and weak. And then I asked myself, where do I see myself in 10 years? I didn't. And that was kind of a wake-up call for me that I need to start to do. I even have goosebumps now talking about it. It's, it's kind of puts things into perspective that in 10 years you wouldn't be here with all this medication as well I was prescribed, and all the pain and how I was feeling about myself in terms of my mental health and everything else, yeah. So then I talked to myself that I need to do something, so I started to go swimming, started to do yoga. Even that was quite intense for somebody who hasn't done anything for a few years, And then I started to go, after about 6 months, I started to go gym. So when I started to go gym, I made myself a promise that 4 times a week I'm just going. So same way I was doing swimming and yoga, I was doing twice a week I was doing yoga, twice a week I was doing swimming, so 4 times, but from the gym as well. So I made myself a promise that 4 times a week I'm training, no matter what, unless I'm ill physically, I can't attend. Yeah, so I also say that to my clients, so for me how it worked, I decided to work out Monday to Thursday and then having rest days Friday to Sunday, yeah. And so whatever would come up, that we might have some commitments. So let's say on Wednesday you need to go for some work event or whatever, you are held up at work. So there comes a Friday or a Saturday, I would be making up that missed day, definitely. Yeah, so that was a thing that I made to myself. And as I started to work out and get healthier, I was very rarely ill as well. So that made me keep to my promise. So a bit about what I was doing at the gym. So when I got into the gym, I was doing about half an hour different cardio machines. So I would do 10 minutes cross trainer, 10 minutes treadmill, then 10 minutes rowing or something else, so to have a bit of variety. I do get bored quite quickly, so I'm not really keen to sit on a cardio machine for half an hour, one machine, yeah, and I like to have a variety. And then I would do different exercises, different weight exercises with weights, dumbbells, barbells, whatever you can imagine, And then towards the end of the session would be any core work. I would do quite a lot of core-based exercises, at some days 300 to 500 reps. It seems quite a lot, but it can go through fairly quickly, and that's like it. The core is, as I was looking at the core, as the main part of the fitness, as that gives you much more stability in everything else that you want to do. And considering that I also had a lot of lower back pain, so that was one of the things that I really needed to focus. And even, like with squats, when I started, it was like so bad. I could just bend my knees like slightly, so slight knee bend, and it was causing me so much pain, like somebody would actually be stabbing me in my knees, but push through, as long as there's not too much pain and inflammation going through the body. I was just dedicated. I was like like the horses, they have the blinkers on, and you just carry on with your goals that you have. I was just determined to get myself fit and healthy. And then later on came, obviously, that as I achieved, and it was in fairly short time, so it was in about 18 months, I got myself fit and healthy. So people also who saw that transition got inspired. So I was getting asked a lot of questions, how to lose weight, how to achieve what you have done. Then saying that, also there was a lot of not so good wishers, yeah. So there were people saying that when I was at one point I was at about 54 kg, so that as well, for my height, is not that low. People were referring me to as looking anorexic. Well, but it's understanding that not for everybody it's easy to achieve, and it's easier to blame other people or look at them somehow than to look at yourself, as the hardest work is within yourselves, yeah. So then, about a year in my exercising, so when I started the gym, I stopped going yoga. My body got really, really tight, so I also introduced stretching routine, yeah. So I was stretching every morning before work, so that's about half an hour, 40 minutes stretching routine. And then I would go to work, and then after work I would go to the gym for about a couple of hours, yeah. Sometimes tiny bit more, sometimes tiny bit less, yeah. So where I am in my knowledge and my training now, so I wouldn't train for a couple of hours, but that was my knowledge level there. And that worked for me, because obviously all the other health issues, as I have polycystic ovaries and things like that, so it makes it much harder to actually lose the weight and change your metabolism, so to say, yeah. And then that stretching was really important, otherwise my body just wouldn't be performing well at the gym. I was tight everywhere, so that really helped me, yeah. But if anybody would say to me like 10 years ago that I would be waking up before my alarm is due for work just to do my stretching or routine, or go to gym after work, I would say you're a bit crazy, yeah. And then in terms of food, yeah, so I was strict with food as well. So Monday to Thursday, so my routine was, in the morning I would eat a handful of soaked almonds, so I would soak them overnight. And then about 10, 11, I would have the almonds. So I was also doing the intermittent fasting, which is now called time-restricted fasting, where you limit your intake to 6 to 8 hours a day. Yeah, sometimes for me it would work out about 10 hours a day, because I would have the almonds about 10, 11, and then I would have the shake in the evening. And then, so for the shake that I would have in the evening, so I was making my own protein shake, and there was all the difference. I was changing all the different superfood powders, different seeds, sometimes nuts, sometimes yogurt, a banana, and then different minerals and vitamins, but that come in a natural plant-based powders, yeah. So that would, I would have about an hour after the gym, yeah. So that would be about 8 o'clock in the evening, you know, and then I would go to bed about 10-11. So that gives me the 3 hours gap before I go to bed, and that was fine. After the gym, you know, after an hour after the gym, you can't really eat because the adrenaline is high. So that was working quite well for me in terms of the hunger and satiety. And then in the day, during the day, around 2 p.m., I would be having my main meal for the day. So that would be, you know, like any kind of protein, chicken, beef, whatever, you know, potatoes, rice, and some veg. Yeah, so also following the portion sizes that are, you know, so that I wouldn't overeat. And that kept me on track. So, you know, the discipline wasn't hard to keep to it, because I was also, you know, when comes weekend, I was making some cake, I could make some cookies, but really little, you know, so I would have that kind of homemade nice stuff that satisfies the craving, rather than all that fully preservative laden stuff from the shop shelves, yeah. So that's how I was dealing with the cravings. Obviously, sometimes you crave for some shop-bought chocolate and stuff, you can have that, but it can't be on regular basis, yeah. Before I started on my weight loss journey as well, I could eat a couple of packs of biscuits or 4 Mars bars, you know, in an evening, so it wouldn't be a problem, and I could eat ready meals, you know, so all that was happening. However, once you understand how your body is actually suffering through these things that you are doing initially to yourself, so that made me look at it, you know, more carefully and make those changes in my own life, due to the fact also, as I mentioned earlier, that I didn't see my future if I did not make those changes. And now, you know, like, as we are hearing more and more on social media as well, that this fat positive movement, people are dying in their 30s because they're just hugely overweight, and before death they are actually coming out and saying that please try to do something about it, that it's not all so rosy and that you are doing it to yourself initially. Of course, there are conditions that might make it harder, you know, when people take, let's say, steroids, yeah, that it's really common to put on weight, and it's nobody's fault, it just happens, and it's not also due to overeating, but that's quite rare, yeah. So it's kind of, everything works much better and less inflammation and metabolic problems, yeah, once we are nice and healthy. So that gives you a little bit of insight about what I done, how I lost and why I lost weight, and then next time I will talk about how I managed to maintain my weight at this low rate for the last 9-10 years. Hope you enjoyed my story. Have a lovely weekend, guys. Bye.